All right, everybody. Here's an episode of Dave's Garage. Did a chain change. You're like, well, how is that a mod? Well, because it's gold, and gold is faster. But besides that, I didn't bother to show the process of changing the chain because I figure everybody knows how to do that. It's not specific to this bike. In fact, I probably already have videos on my channel, and there's no shortage of videos showing you how to change a chain. The biggest thing is going and buying an RK or Motion Pro tool. It's a chain breaker kit, and it is the riveting tool. So everything in one. Might spend 130 bucks. It'll be worth its weight in gold every time you change chains for you or your friends or whatever. You need that, and you can use a socket. I use an impact wrench. I can sit there and put the breaker on there and drive that pin out, and then I use it to peen over the new one. It's got the tool for that, all built in. So if you want to see that stuff, go watch other videos. I think I've got one of mine where Jimmy and I did it on his bike, and I think I did it on Donna's MT, or that monster over there, and probably a ZX10R. So why did I do this, and why am I calling it a mod? Well, it's a cosmetic mod. I like the color gold. It also makes it easier. Even though I clean my chain a lot, it's nice being able to have it not get surface rust. So that's the first thing. The other thing I did is that this bike comes with a stock 116 links. I went and changed it, and basically I bought a 120 link chain and cut it to 118 so that I can move the wheel back another 3/4 of an inch. Now, why would I do that particular mod? Well, to help keep wheelies down. It's not like I'm afraid of wheelies, but I just don't care about them. To me, they're not interesting. They slow you down, especially when you're at triple digits and the front end is off the ground and you can't steer. It's kind of like I would just rather have all of that power converted into going forward and maximum thrust forward rather than it lifting the bike up and either traction or wheelie control cuts in, or I have to roll off the throttle if I want to keep the front end down. If you're trying to do wheelies, then this doesn't apply to you. I'd rather go faster while keeping it controllable and stable. So normally, like on a smaller bike, like a 600 or a 750, you do the quick acceleration, you do, down one tooth in the front, which is a smaller sprocket, which puts slack in the chain, and you move the axle back a little bit to take that up. That has the benefit of the lower gearing and better acceleration, but then it also has the benefit of a slightly longer wheelbase of helping control the wheelies, so that extra acceleration you just picked up is actually being used for acceleration and not fighting wheelies. So here, the 24 ZX10, the first 3 gears internally are lower. This is perfectly geared. I'm not changing the sprockets at all. But what I did want to do was see if lengthening the swing arm, because this is, if you're going to put a gold chain on anyway, it's not any extra to get one with 2 extra links and cut off what you don't need. And if I decide, I don't like it, I can just pop 2 links off and just buy a new master link off Amazon for $7. I went with this chain right here. 525 ZWX XW ring. So I've got RK. It's a good chain. Get that. Get DRD. EK is also decent. But get one of their better chains that's rated for 1,000 horsepower, sport bikes. Or 1,000, cc sport bikes. So how that works is that it works the same principle as a ratchet. It works the same principle of going larger sprockets. So when you look at it, it's all about leverage, right? So there's 3 parts of a lever. There's the effort arm, which is what you use to exert that mechanical advantage. And so I have a short ratchet here. And if that's not enough and I can't loosen the bolt, what do? You go get a longer ratchet. Why? Because, that increases the leverage. You're increasing the effort arm, and that increases your mechanical advantage and can apply more pressure. Where it pivots, or what's called the fulcrum, the words are interchangeable for our purposes here, and then you have the resistance arm. What is it that you're looking to do? So if it was a crowbar, like a pry bar, you'd have the long part you're pushing on, and then it would pivot, and then you'd have this much jammed in the door or whatever it is you're trying to pry up. You'd have the long part would be the effort arm. You'd have where it pivots, the fulcrum, and then you'd have that short resistance arm. And because the effort arm is much longer than the resistance arm, that's your mechanical advantage. That's your force multiplier. With regards to sprockets, the bigger the rear sprocket, the longer here's your pivot. Even though this is in a circular motion, you almost got to look at each tooth like it's own little lever, and you're trying to turn it, right? So here's your ratchet. You're trying to turn it. Well, if you want more acceleration and for it to feel like more grunt, you have a bigger sprocket. Well, that's the same as grabbing a longer ratchet. One that's 5 inches longer than this will give you more mechanical advantage to apply that force to the wheel. It just so happens that it's going in a circle on a chain, so it's just a continuous lever. And even though it's a circle instead of, a straight piece, it works exactly the same, right? So that's how that works. In this case, this is your effort arm. Okay, this is where the force is being applied from the drivetrain. You got your chain pulling on it. That's no different than me pulling this, trying to loosen a nut. The resistance arm is the length of the bike, right? Here's your pivot. So it's from here to here is your effort arm that's being applied to that. And then from here forward is your resistance arm. So here we're doing the opposite of what you do on a ratchet, where the ratchet isn't working, so you go get the longer breaker bar to bust that lug nut loose, right? Here, we're not changing this distance. That force is being applied exactly the same in this case, because I didn't want to change the sprockets. But by lengthening the resistance arm, it's going to be harder for it to lift that front end. All that weight is up. It's no different than if you hold a broom handle in the middle, and then as you start sliding over towards the end that doesn't have the broom or the mop head on it, you'll notice it takes more and more effort to hold that thing up. It wants to sink to the floor. As more of that weight gets past your hand, because your hand is the fulcrum, it's the pivot point. The more length and the more weight that goes past that pivot point, the more it's wanting to pull your hand down, and it's more effort you got to exert to bring it up. Try holding a hockey stick just from the end. Kind of hard. You hold it in the middle, it's nothing. It weighs 5 pounds. That's what we're trying to do here. I hope that makes sense. If someone can think of a better way to explain it, and I'm all ears. But that is what we've done here. So we've lengthened the swing arm just enough, and I know that people will say, oh, that's going to slow turn in. The 3/4 of an inch, we only extended it, the distance from, it's 2 links, so 1 link top, 1 link bottom. It's this distance from here to here. It only moved back 3/4 of an inch. But sometimes that makes a difference. It's not going to make that much of a difference on turn-in. It's going to be negligible. But when you are, because I felt it on 750s and smaller bikes, when I do 1 tooth down the front, it moves it back about 5/8, 3/4 of an inch. And I feel that it's less wheelie prone, even though it's accelerating harder. This bike needs it. So that's what we've done. That's why we've done that. I'll go do a ride review and stuff like that. But if you have enough, the thing you have to be careful of is it may depend from bike to bike. If you have a bike, my wheel was fairly far forward, so I still have some adjustment. I still have probably another 1/2 inch I could go back if the chain stretches. Now, if I get to a point where the chain stretches and I've got too much slack and I can't move it back any further, then that could be a problem, and at that point I probably would have to go back to stock, or maybe just go up a tooth in the back to take up that slack and move the wheel back forward a little bit. That would probably do that before I would go back to cutting the chain. I want to preserve as much of that, a little bit of extra length. Unless you're at a race pace chasing podiums, you're not going to notice a difference in the turn-in from that 3/4 of an inch. You're just not. But you may notice that difference of it being just a little less wheelie prone. Not changing the gearing, not changing the power, just making the bike slightly longer, which will also have the added benefit of stability. It'll just make it a little more stable and planted. So that's why we've done that. And I hope my scientific-ish explanation makes sense as far as how his leverage and all that stuff works. That's a 41 tooth. If I got to a point where I was running out of adjustment pretty quickly, because it is a new chain, it is going to stretch a little bit, then I might go to a 42 tooth in the back and lower the gearing ever so slightly just to take up some of that slack. Or if I don't feel it makes it any less wheelie prone, then I'll just cut 2 links off and go back, get another master link and just re-rivet it and call it a day. But we're going to give this a shot and see if that works. It's worked on other bikes, so I have a feeling it should work well here too.